Hey, it's Rihanna. Welcome back to my channel. And today I thought we could talk about my single life, or otherwise known as trying to date as a plus size woman. Now, if you go to YouTube and you look up, dating as a plus size woman or anything like around about those words, you're going to find a lot of YouTubers who have discussed the advantages, the pros and cons, their experience, etc. for dating as a plus size woman. And anyone who knows me personally knows that I had the worst luck when it came to dating, and I figured I would maybe share a story or two with y'all today. So I want to start off by saying that I was previously married. I met my first husband when I was 17, like a month away from my 18th birthday. We got married when I was 21, and we separated when I was like 27-ish, around about. And I started dating around then, and then I met Jonathan when I was 30. So it was about 3 or 4 years that I was single and dating as an adult, because previously to meeting my first husband, I was a teenager, and that's a totally different ball game as far as dating. But dating as an adult and a plus size woman was a horrible experience, and I would never ever 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 wish it upon my worst enemy. Well, maybe my worst enemy. But it's hard enough to date, and it's hard enough to be plus size, but you put them together and it's like the end of the world. I just want to tell y'all in the beginning of this that one of the things that I found difficult about dating nowadays is that for those of you who have been married for a long time, or have been in a committed relationship for a while, may not realize, but it seems really difficult to actually date. Like, everyone just wants to hook up. It wasn't so much about dating as a plus size woman that was difficult. It was finding someone who didn't just want to hook up. And now I'm not like totally, let's say, conservative in those views, but I'm also not gonna be friendly with everyone that I meet the first time that I meet them. I just want a decent balance between the two. After you narrow down all the men who are married, who are on these dating websites that are posing as single men, which is absolutely ridiculous, and then you get through the guys who are just looking for hookups, and the guys who want to date but aren't really interested in plus size girls, which is fine. Everyone has a preference. I'm not mad at anyone who doesn't want to date me because of my size, because I understand everyone has the things that they're attracted to. So once you narrow all that down, you have a pretty small pool to choose from. So I'm going to tell you this story about two guys, two totally different guys, and how my experiences went with them. Now, one thing that I will mention is that while I was dating, my BFF and I would come up with these kind of like code names for these guys, because it wasn't really worth learning. It wasn't worth my best friend learning their names and keeping up with them. So I had names like Barbie Car Guy and BO Guy and the Short Guy. The first story is actually going to be about the BO Guy. So I honestly don't remember this guy's name. It was a long time ago. It doesn't mean that I necessarily wasn't interested in him at the time when we were originally talking, but I just unfortunately don't remember his name any longer. But I met him through, I believe it was OkCupid. I'm not 100% positive. And I mean, as usual, we had messaged back and forth a couple times, exchanged phone numbers. We talked a little bit. I learned about him. I learned a little bit about him, like he was a real estate agent, how old he was, that kind of stuff. And he seemed like a really interesting guy as far as what I was looking for in my next relationship. So we finally agreed to meet up. I believe it was a Friday afternoon or Friday evening. We were going to have dinner or something along those lines. So I'm texting with him the day of, and he tells me that he has to work. He's showing a property, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. He's like, but I should be getting off around 5. And so I'm thinking, okay, he's going to want to get off of work, go home, take a shower, change his clothes. We'll probably meet for dinner around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Well, then he's like, no, just meet me in the lobby of this hotel that was halfway, I guess halfway between us. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to meet you at a hotel lobby because I don't want you thinking that I'm going to go to this hotel with you, you know? And he's like, no, not like that, but they have a nice lobby. We can sit and talk or whatever before we go to dinner. And so I'm like, okay, well, what time? And he's like, right now. I'm like, you just got off of work. And he was like, yeah, it's fine. And so I'm like, okay. Now, previously in our text messages, he had specifically stated that he was out showing a property, like having to walk around. And so I'm thinking, don't you want to go and take a shower, like a first date with someone? But whatever. So I get to the hotel, I get to the parking lot, and I just want to say, I'm not like a gold digger, but I do, obviously, I am kind of materialistic. I have mentioned that in my vlogs. And when I pull up in the parking lot, I park next to this like junky van. And I remember thinking to myself, I hope that's not his car. So I go inside, and literally I open the door, and the first thing is I can just smell this terrible smell of like BO or maybe Indian food or something, you know, very pungent, like a very pungent smell. Okay, so I come around the corner and he's sitting on the couch, and I go to like say hello, and I realize that the smell is coming from him, guys. He's the stinky guy. It was him, and it was really bad. Like, honestly, the entire time that we were talking, because we were sitting on like a couch in the lobby of this hotel, and I was thinking like how, like we're sitting side by side, and like I just want to move away from him. Like there's some chairs that are like in front of him, and like I just want to get away from him to try to get away from the smell. It was so bad, and I couldn't concentrate at all, and the whole time I'm thinking, I have to get out of this. There has to be a way that I can get out of this. Like, I got to get out of this situation. I cannot go on a date with this guy. Like, he smells so bad. We can't go anywhere else. He's stinking up the whole lobby of this hotel. So, of course, like, you know, every woman dating in the, like, 21st century, I have a code with my best friend, and I text her, and I'm like, you've got to get me out of this situation. This guy stinks. Or I don't even know if I was able to tell her that. I was just kind of like, you know, 911, 911, help, send help. So, you know, I kind of wrap it up as quickly as I can, you know, in a polite way. And, you know, he walks me out, and he's leaving too. And he walks me out to my car, and then he gets in the junky van, and I'm just like, okay. Yeah, I'm glad that we figured this out in the beginning, that like I just don't understand, why would you go on a first date to meet someone and stink? Like, I don't understand what his thought process was on that. No, I never talked to him again. I was pretty good about telling guys whenever I wasn't interested via text message, because I mean, I still, like, I wanted to respect their time enough to like tell them that I wasn't interested. But of course I'm not gonna do it face to face. So I would usually text them and tell them that it just wasn't gonna work out. So that was the story of the BO guy. Now I want to tell you the story of the other guy. And I don't want to tell you exactly what his name was because it'll give it away, like kind of like the BO guy story did, but that's okay. And I have to be careful with this one because I still occasionally run into this guy's social media. Like, I don't know what contact information is overlapping, but literally like 2 weeks ago, I think my Instagram suggested him as someone I may know. And I mean, I've gotten like a new number and several new phones since then, and I even changed my email address. So I have no idea what the overlap is, but I need to be careful just in case he stumbles across these vlogs. So here's another gentleman that I believe I met through OkCupid, or may have been Plenty of Fish. Honestly, it could have been either one of those because it was in the beginning. I think he was one of the first guys that I started talking to after my marriage ended. So I'm chatting with this guy, and you know, as like everything. He seems like a normal guy. We're getting through the like pleasantries and the, you know, opening questions and, you know, the things that you discuss with someone when you're trying to like figure out if you're interested in going on a date. And then I believe I actually was kind of like, hey, you want to hang out? Because like I was bored or something. And I think it was when I was living with my parents in the transitional phase of like me leaving my husband and then like him moving out of the apartment and all that. So I think I was actually staying at my parents' house and I really wanted to get out of the house. And so I was like, hey, how about we hang out? And he was like, well, my roommate is gonna leave and you can come over here and we can watch a movie. And of course, you know, I'm kind of hesitant, but I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, like I got this. I can handle this. So now one thing I want to say is that just like I said about like I'm not a gold digger or anything like that, I also I'm not super particular about the guy's physical appearance, but I do just have a couple things that like I prefer someone who's taller than me, and I prefer someone who isn't skinny. Like they don't have to be like a big guy, but just like I want them to have, you know, substance to their body because I have substance to my body and I want to feel like I'm not going to break them if we, you know, hug me. I see on his profile that he's 5'4", and I'm like, are you really 5'4"? Because I know that guys lie about their height, but I'm like, you know, he's short enough that I feel like he wouldn't lie. Like I feel like someone who was like 5'8" might say they were like 5'10", because, you know, most women wouldn't really necessarily be able to tell. But I feel like if you're 5'4" and I'm 5'2" or 5'3", I can't remember what I said on my profile. I don't lie about my height on purpose. I just don't actually know my exact height. Like I'm 5'1", I'm 5'2", I'm 5'3". I don't know how tall I am. I'm somewhere around that range. So my profile said I'm 5'2", maybe it said I'm 5'3". So like if you see that I'm short and you're short too, like don't lie about your height. Like I didn't think that a man who was 5'4" would lie about his height. So I go to his apartment and I knock on the door. First of all, his roommate was a jerk, number one. Just like a big D-bag. But whatever. So his roommate answers the door and I'm like, I'm here for whatever this guy's name is. Clear Lake guy. And he's like, okay. He like shuts the door. Like doesn't even ask me if I want to come in or anything. He like shuts the door. I'm like, okay. So then Clear Lake guy comes and opens the door and he's significantly shorter than me. Like I don't understand. Why would you say that you were 5'4" when you're shorter than me? Which means you're at least 5'1", okay? But I mean like he was inches though, so he was probably like 4'11". Like how are you going to lie about that? I cannot stand like liars. Don't lie. I am so upfront about who I am. All of my, when I was dating, OkCupid could only have like 9 or 10 pictures or something like that. And I filled out every single one. I made sure there were body shots. There were shots that very clearly were not super flattering, but I wanted it to be very clear to anyone who looked at my profile who might be interested in me of what my body looked like. Because I'm not going to change my body for you. Like, I may lose weight one day, yes. But I don't want you to think that you're getting something that you're not. Like, I want you to understand that I'm a big girl and you either have to like not have a preference or you have to be into big girls. I mean, that's just the way that it is. And I accept that. But how are you gonna say that you're 5'4" and you're like 4'11"? So anyways, of course I'm not gonna just like walk out like and just be like, you're 4'11" and I'm leaving. So, and then also like he wasn't really cute, and I mean that's like kind of mean, but I mean it is what it is. Like, he just misrepresented himself like 100%. Like all of his pictures were like super flattering pictures or like photoshopped or something, because he did not look anywhere like he looked like in real life. So we're hanging out, we're watching some skateboard movie. I don't even, or like rollerblading movie or something. I don't know. It's another one of those situations where I'm just like, how am I gonna get out of this? How am I gonna get out of this? How am I gonna get out of this? And so I eventually act like I got a text message from my brother and saying that he needed to use my car. I can't remember. Honestly, it was something along those lines. I was like, oh, I gotta go, I'm sorry. And like, I was like, pew, I was out of there. And I'm almost positive I didn't talk to this guy again. I kind of ghosted him. So sorry about that. I try to be good about it. I'm not perfect though. Sometimes they just don't take the hint. And like, I'm sorry, I wasn't interested in you, Clear Lake guy. If you're watching this, you should put on your profile that you're 4'11" and you should take some realistic pictures. That's all I'm saying. All right, well, that was 2 of my single life dating stories. I hope you enjoyed them. Let me know down in the comments how your life has gone with dating. Have you had some funny stories or anything that you want to share? Just as a teaser, I do have another one about the guy who faked his own death. Yeah. So thumbs up this video if you want to hear about that story. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!